pop this open and take a look at what we got. So here are basically where I kept all of the bicentennial quarters that I found in change. They're really not worth much, as they're pretty common. You'll still get them in change today, but I always thought they were pretty cool, so I always saved them. Here we go. This is a 1912 dime. It's in fairly good shape. It's not too worn out. Here's another 1912 dime. Here we go. First state quarter, Delaware. Yeah, this is a 1957 D, as you could tell where it was minted at on the right side there of the Monticello. You see the little D there, so that stands for Denver, Colorado, the Denver Mint. And if there's a P, that stands for Philadelphia. And then we have a really old quarter, but someone must have cut this at some point back in the day. There's a pretty worn buffalo nickel. I can't tell the date on that one. Here's another pretty old quarter. And I think you'd be able to tell the date at the bottom there, but it's all worn out. So it really doesn't help us much. Here we've got a Canadian dime. Here we have a Canadian nickel from 1923. That's pretty old. And here is a 1969 S. I don't know if you can see that there. The S is very small, and that means that it was minted in the San Francisco Mint. This is the first time we come across one of these, but this is a wheat penny. That's what they call these. Anyways, this is a 1956. You can see the little pieces of wheat on each side there. Canadian penny. I think this is a 1920 Cuban nickel, I think. I'm not sure. Can't read. I can't translate that. Yeah, this is a pretty cool piece. This is a Canadian nickel. Got a beaver on the back of it. Pretty cool. I always like that beaver. Canadian quarter from 1973 there. Another Canadian quarter, but this one has a moose on the back from 1989. Here is an Italian coin. I'm not sure if this is their version of 50 cents or whatever it is, but yeah, there you go there. Here is a coin from Mexico. I'm not sure if that's 5 pesos or something else completely, but there you go. Oh, the stuff's written on the edges there too. And here is a halfpenny, and I'm not sure where this is from exactly. And here we've got good for one fair, the Sunshine City, St. Petersburg, Florida. So I guess this was a token at one point for something. You could hitch a ride. This tray now we could focus on. This is a big chunk of pyrite, aka fool's gold. It always just looked really cool, but it's not worth anything. A Susan B. Anthony dollar. Yeah, it was mostly common to come across 1979 Susan B. Anthony. So since this was a 1980, I guess that was my reasoning of keeping it. Here is another quarter that is very worn. Sacagawea dollar, 2000, from the Philadelphia Mint. Here is a quarter, Mount Hood, from 2010. Here's an old school Chuck E. Cheese token from 1996. And, oh yeah, this is, I remember just having this as a kid. I just thought it was cool. It's a penny that's bent. Look how, it looks fake, but yeah, that's how this penny was just pressed out. That looks cool right there. All right, here is just a penny that's been completely flattened. I think my dad found this near the railroad because back in the day, kids would just put pennies on railroad tracks and wait for the train to cross and flatten them. And most of the time, they would never find any of the coins that they put on the tracks. But my dad found this one, so that's where this came from. It's probably very dangerous you do that, and I wouldn't recommend. Don't try that at home. Anyways, here is a whole dollar. Before the Susan B. Anthony, we had Dwight D. Eisenhower. I think that's him on the front there with the Liberty Bell and the moon. It's very heavy. This is like a huge coin. And now we come to the half dollars. And there's a story about these half dollars. So for every paycheck back in the day my dad got, he would give me and my brother a $50 as a form of allowance. I just never spent them, and I just put them in here because, I don't know, they were just cool. As you can see, every single $50 represents the allowance we were given during that time span. This is the world's largest banjo, Grand Country. Okay. So taking a look at these half dollars, they vary in all sorts of different dates, and yeah, I may butcher the history on these, but I think they made steel pennies during this year, 1943. I think maybe I'm not sure, but definitely this year, 1943, because during the Second World War, they needed all the copper that they needed for ammo and whatever else to support the war. And so pennies were made out of copper during that time. But they switched it out and said, well, this year we're just going to make pennies out of steel instead. I think there's like 8 or 9 1943 pennies that were made copper, and they're highly valuable. They're very rare. And I've always searched for one as a kid, but yeah, these were the commonplace 1943 pennies. Here are some very poor condition pennies from the 1900s here. I think this is probably the best one. There you go. Oh, 20 pence. I think this is Canadian. If not, it's I don't know. It's something. Here is 1 penny. It's very huge. Oh, this one's pretty cool. Where's this from? This is from East Africa, 1956. This is a 1 cent piece. I just liked it because of the hole in the center. 5 pesos. I think that's what Cinco means. 1920s Mercury head dime. This is pretty good condition. I mean, it's still pretty tarnished, but better than the other stuff I've got. Here is a 10 pengo, and this is a Budapest paper money from 1936. Oh, here we go. Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon. Roger Williams Mint, Iguanodon. There we go. The Department of the Treasury, United States Mint, Denver, Colorado. Here's a 1943 penny again, your steel boy. 1980 D dime. Here's a 1943 P nickel. Got a lot of miscellaneous stuff here. 20 centavos, 20 cents. Here's something different. 1 franc from 1941. My grandma gave this to me a long time ago. I was like 4 or 5. I just always kept it. Oh, and skeleton keys. I was just always obsessed with skeleton keys. I just think they're so cool. Another skeleton key. Here we have William H. Taft, the 27th president. Shell's Mr. President coin game. Ooh, the $100 coin from 1988 from Mexico. This thing's pretty thick and heavy. I don't know if that's worth anything or not. Here is an Australian penny from 1943. It's got a kangaroo on the front and some guy. This is an 1837 penny. Probably one of the more older pieces of my collection here. It's a 1954S in really good condition. 1939 penny. Here's a buffalo nickel that has the date. 1936. There you go. Here's a silver nickel from 1943. This is one of my favorites. I think I got this for my birthday a long time ago. This is an 1867 nickel. Still in very good condition. Buffalo nickel kind of looks like 1929, 1928. Not really sure. Here you go. Here's something that has air in it, and this air is from the dawn of time. 1939D Mercury dime there. 1946 penny. Here is a 1909 VDB. I don't know what it stands for exactly, but right here, I don't know if you can see that in the light, but right here towards the bottom of his shirt, in little initials, it's carved in VDB. Here is an 1897 penny. Here's a 1945S and 1953S. Here's a 1919S. The 1936 Buffalo nickel. It's in pretty good shape, as you can see there. Here we've got an 1853 dime. I think this is a dime. Oh, that's so worn out at the back. I can't tell. But yeah. Something from 1853. 1943S. 1953S. You could tell it's an S because at the bottom of this column there, that's where they would put. Here is an 1899 penny piece. Here's a 1907 nickel. A penny from 1914. The penny from 1864. We've got a proof. Proof means that it's never been touched. It's completely just, untarnished. As you can see, it's flawless there. 1976S. Very nice. Here's another proof. 1973S dime. This one is a thing from my childhood. I remember just begging my dad to have. And he finally gave it to me just because it's just a novelty thing. And some guy at some point started carving a lot of pipes into the pennies to make Lincoln look like he was smoking a pipe. And there was a lot of them being circulated back in the day. And this is one my dad found and he kept. He wound up passing it on to me. I'll pass it on to my son or daughter at some point. This is a penny from 1854. And they were huge. But a penny was worth a whole lot more back then. So there was probably some cowboy at some point used this to buy a shot of whiskey at the saloon. Here's another one that was probably paid for a woman to help in the bathhouse. 1853, 1 cent. And yeah, that's it, guys. I think I have a whole lot more, but we'll leave it at that for now. And thanks for watching. I will see you next time.